Would you rather have 20 points per game or 24 points per game? Okay, you'll take the 24. But would you rather have 48% from the field or 40% from the field? Would you rather have 38% from 3 on 7 attempts or 32% from 3 on 9 attempts? Would you rather have 90% from the free throw line or 89% from the free throw line? Now look, these are not the only metrics in which I'm going to be covering this video, but Darius Garland has been better than Damian Lillard this season. Let's get straight into it. So when you hear those words come out of my mouth that Darius Garland has been the better player, you think I'm crazy, and it doesn't sound right. I mean, why would Darius Garland be better than Damian Lillard, one of the greatest three-point shooters ever, and obviously a normal consensus top 10 player in the NBA? Well, he's been better than him this season, and not in general, because I don't think Darius Garland is the better player than Damian Lillard, but he's been better than him. I mean, efficiency-wise, I already showed you that. Field goal percentage, three-point shooting, free throw percentage. He has a higher true shooting percentage. You know, like Darius Garland has a similar three-point attempt rate and is shooting about as efficient as Damian Lillard has in past seasons. Now, he's shooting more efficient than Dame from 3 this season, but like that's crazy. Darius Garland has taken this next leap into an all-star level player, but I will tell you why he was able to become an all-star in the first place. But first, let's cover why Damian Lillard is doing so bad. Now, to keep it frank with you, I've never seen Damian Lillard play this bad throughout a season in his whole career. You know, maybe I haven't been alive long enough, but 24 points per game, like 8 assists, that's nice. But when you're that inefficient and, you know, that streaky of a player, I don't know if you can really trust him on your team. Shooting 40% from the field and 33% from 3 is not something to marvel at. It's something that Damian Lillard has not done in the past seasons. You know, normally he shoots around 45% from the field, you know, around 38% from 3. You know, he had that one season where he was the only player in NBA history to average 30 points, 8 assists on 40% from 3. But what happened to Damian Lillard? Now look, one of the reasons that he could be playing wrong is that he's been dealing with injuries for the past couple of years. And Damian Lillard fans will tell you that Damian Lillard has been dealing with injuries since he came out the womb. So anything he does is not against him. But I think it's something on him. And I think it's mentally. I think mentally he knows this Portland Trailblazers team can't go far. And he's like, you know what? I don't need to do as much. Why would I break my back every night if we're still going to be a very low seed in the playoffs and eventually get bounced out in the first round by a much stronger team than us? Maybe a team like the Suns or the Golden State Warriors. Why would he go through all that stress to take them to the playoffs? And, you know, he has excuses on his hands because CJ McCollum has missed so many games. And look, I understand. The Portland Trailblazers, their team looks deep and it looks very talented, but they haven't been living up to that. I mean, Robert Covington has had one of the worst seasons of his career. You know, defensively even, he's regressed, and that's something we do not see out of Robert Covington. Norman Powell has been solid, but CJ McCollum in many respects is just 21 points per game, and that's all you get from him. And then Yusuf Nurkic said he wants more of a role in the offense. But what does he bring? I mean, he brings layups. He brings like dunks at the rim. He doesn't bring a mid-range shot. He doesn't bring a three-point shot. And he also doesn't bring foul drawing. Like, he can't draw a foul that well. So when Yusuf Nurkic is saying he wants a bigger role in your offense, while he is one of the worst offensive players on your court at all times, maybe only behind Robert Covington, then that's weird. The Portland Trailblazers, frankly enough, have put together a team that is talented, but that has no fit. Robert Covington, a talented player. Yeah, he can shoot a 3-ball. He can play really good defense. Maybe not so much this year, but that's a talented NBA player. Same thing with Norman Powell. Same thing with Damian Lillard, obviously. Same thing with CJ McCollum. And same thing with Yusuf Nurkic. But although this team does have a lot of talent, it doesn't fit. It's like a much more dumbed-down version of the 2022 Los Angeles Lakers. And the fact that they have a lot of talent, but it's not fitting. I think that the Lakers are actually struggling more because Russ sucks and AD he's just not living up to what he's supposed to be, you know. But the Blazers have been one of the most disappointing teams in the West this season because the Portland Trailblazers have failed to put a good roster around Damian Lillard. And yeah, sure, on paper it looks talented, but in reality it doesn't fit. So now let's get into how Darius Garland has excelled. I mean, in his 3rd season, he's already looking like an all-star. After when he was in his 1st season, people were calling him arguably the worst player in the NBA. But Darius Garland has excelled in a role without Colin Sexton. Now, I think for Darius Garland to reach his peak potential, he needs to be very ball dominant. And, you know, he's been somewhat ball dominant with the Cavaliers this season, but it opened it up a lot more when Collin Sexton got injured. Now, look, Collin Sexton is a 20-point per game scorer and rather efficient at that. You know, he's around league average efficiency when it comes to scoring those 20 points per game, but his loss has been a positive for the Cavaliers this season. I think with Collin Sexton, it's a similar case of CJ McCollum. He brings you to 21 points per game. You know, he brings you to scoring, the mid-range shot, the three-point shot, the ability to finish at the rim. But what else does he bring you? CJ McCollum doesn't bring you defense. Collin Sexton doesn't bring you defense. CJ McCollum doesn't bring you great playmaking. Neither does Collin Sexton. That's the reason why when Collin Sexton went down, this Cavaliers team arguably got better. Because although he's scoring 20-some points per game, if you can't play make out of the gravity in which you create with the 20 points per game, then it's frankly useless, because you're not going to get more open looks. You're not going to get easier offense for your teammates. Inevitably, you would be scoring 50 points a night with no assists and having your teammates not score, meaning you would score 50 points a night and lose by 20 points a night. That would be if Collin Sexton was able to take the amount of shots he wanted. So I think that the Collin Sexton injury helped Darius Garland a lot. Now, that sounds inhumane and disrespectful, and you might be like, Collin Sexton is the best player on their roster. I definitely disagree, but you could say that. Darius Garland, 20 points per game, 7 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal and a half a game, and he's shooting 48% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. That is an all-star level player, if I've ever seen one. If Chris Paul can make the all-star game making, I don't know, like 15 points and 9 assists, I think 20 and 7 on above league average efficiency can definitely get you into the all-star game. Not only that, but Darius Garland has arguably been a top 5 point guard this season. Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, Trae Young, and Darius Garland. Now, Ja Morant and Trae Young are switchable. I actually think Trae is better, so I'll keep him higher. He's also averaging like 28 and 9 this year, so Trae Young is one hell of a player. But Darius Garland has arguably been a top 5 point guard in the NBA this season because of Collin Sexton's injury. When he did go down with the injury, it opens up the floor for Darius Garland. You know, the pick and roll between him and Jared Allen get a lot better because Collin Sexton used to do that, and is he passing out of that pick and roll? 1 out of every 12 times. No, he's not passing out of that pick and roll. So he would take a dumb, contested mid-range shot, and although Collin Sexton is a pretty good scorer, I do think he has too much confidence with the ball in his hands. I think he is low-key holding back the Cavaliers, and the reason why they couldn't break out and be a playoff team before this season. Now, I think Sexton does help their team. I think he's a positive. But I think that he is not as much of a positive as he is without him. The Cavaliers this season are on pace to make the playoffs. And not only that, they're in a really good position to make the playoffs. They are currently 5th in the East, and they're 1 game behind 4th. And if you want to look at the teams behind them, they're multiple games behind them. The 76ers are barely above 500. You know, they are not going to beat out the Cavaliers anytime soon, especially with all the lingering injuries and problems that they have throughout their team with like the Ben Simmons era. So the Cavaliers will make the playoffs this year because of Darius Garland. And not just because of Darius Garland, but also because of the absence of Collin Sexton. The Cavaliers should trade Collin Sexton. That will be for another video, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, do all that, and let me know down in the comments below if you agree with me that Darius Garland is better than Damian Lillard.
Hey, come on, I got a bag on me. You try to take it, leave you stinking like your last homie. She kinda cakey, little baby, put that ass on me. But I ain't that horny, do you got some cash for me? Why every time you ask him that, bitches act funny. And you keep trying to hold the strap, you won't slap for me. You too happy, I can tell you never had money. Every time you get on live, gotta flash money.